Mexico City. I came here for a love story, not to paint, and yet here I am. The face in front of me is one I've seen before. Back in Paris a few weeks ago, I had a model, Mexican model actually, model for me, and I took some photographs, which I'm very excited to start painting. So I'm now here in Mexico painting a Mexican model that's modeled in my Paris studio. Well, what's funny about painting an absolute stranger is it's just an exercise in portraiture, but painting someone you actually know, that's dangerous. It's like one of the reasons I think self-portraits are so difficult. It's because you're so familiar with yourself, but then you aren't. Suddenly you're not painting what you see, you're painting what you know about the people you paint. So I like to walk with strangers, and I like them not to remain total strangers. So we usually have a deep conversation. I think it's really important to have a connection with your models, and I want to know a little part of them, like tiny bits, like a puzzle. Yeah, at least that's my philosophy so far. For this study, I went with paper instead of canvas, and I decided to work entirely alla prima. When you work wet on wet like this, it forces you to be completely honest with yourself. The paint is wet, so you can blend really well, and you can rearrange shapes. So I'm taking my time, going really slowly, and at first I'm laying down very broad shapes, I'm blocking in, and as time passes I get more confident about where every feature lies and what size it is and how the light interacts with it. And as I get more confident, I use more confident colors, so I don't go dark on the hair right away. First I figure out where it is, because I like to start with dark areas, and then work my way to the midtones, and from the midtones I'll just create a range of midtones and work myself away to highlights and shadows. So when you're painting alla prima, you can't hide your mistakes under layers for weeks. Every decision on the palette matters from the very first stroke. So this is where I'm at right now. This is a study, something I'm making just for fun. I like to make paintings like that as often as possible. The goal here is not to have a grand scheme for a masterpiece and a grandiose composition, a big painting, something scary. It's more to relieve pressure and to just practice and have fun. This also makes you a better painter because the more you practice, the better you become. And also, fear is a big thing in painting, and you don't want fear to hold you back. So it's important that you make exercises that place you in a dominating position in comparison to your fear. So right now where I'm at is that I'm quite happy with the proportions so far. It could be a little bit better. I'm still searching a little bit. It's not it's not perfectly accurate right now, but it's not worrying me because I'm laying down shadows quite slowly and not too dark, until I'm sure that it's the right proportion. So right now I'm gonna start darkening some shadows because I'm more confident in my painting's structure, drawing wise, and also I am going to maybe still correct a few details that might be slightly off, by pushing some lights into darks and vice versa. So yeah, just keep watching. I'm keeping the palette incredibly tight here, just a few specific pigments to build the entire mood. I'm completely leaving behind the cooler, grayer light of my Paris studio to adapt to something much warmer and more saturated. Mexico has a very different quality of light, and your mixtures have to reflect that, and I want my model to have a really warm skin tone. There is a few things that are slightly off on this compared to the reference, if you want. The ear is slightly too long. The nose is slightly too short. But I'm not bothered by that because I'm not looking for exact resemblance here. Like I said, the goal is not to achieve some masterpiece, it's to have fun. And what's really important is that you notice when your proportions are off, and that you know how to fix them in case you want to, but you don't have to. You could have a reference and just decide to make intentionally the nose thinner or anything. The reference is just that, a reference. You don't have to be exactly accurate if you don't want to. Here I don't want to. So I'm gonna leave the nose and the ear probably as they are. Maybe the ear I'll work a little bit on it to make it slightly shorter, but the nose I'll leave as it is, and there's also some things that I will fix later. that will be fixed by making the background, because I will come on the to the side of the portrait, and I will eat using negative space. I'll eat some corners to like here I'm a little bit bothered by the nose. The angle is slightly off. It should be more to this side. So I'll just eat that with the background later, and I'm not concerned at all. And yeah, I'm still having fun so far and building this sketch. When I start the portrait alla prima, I don't go straight for the features. I map the shadow shapes first. One big flat mass. No detail, no rendering, just where the light stops. Get that wrong and nothing else will save you later. Also, when the light stops brutally and meets a harsh shadow, you will have something called the terminator, which is an area where colors are more saturated. If you get that right, you're halfway to making a good painting. The skin tone here is exceptionally warm. I'm mixing into my darks and midtones much differently than I normally would back home. I want the flesh to feel like it belongs to the light in this room, not to a memory of another studio. Right here, this is the ugly face. It looks completely broken, and every instinct tells you to fix everything immediately or throw it away. But you have to push through it. There's this moment in every single painting where you have to decide what you want to save. Not everything, just something. And on this face, what I like the most is this geometrical structure. It has a lot of angles. It would make for a fantastic cubist painting. Now, this is where alla prima either works or dies. The wet on wet transitions. I'm holding the brush further back here, using almost no pressure. The goal is to pull the forehead into the background without creating a hard line. Hard lines kill portraits. They make skin look like plastic. but also you have to find a balance, because if everything is blended and looks smooth everywhere, it will look like plastic too. The trick is to keep a few hard edges, but you want to limit them, because when you place a hard edge on a form, the eye will automatically be drawn to it. So edges are a way for you to guide the viewer's gaze. If you leave hard edges everywhere, you kill movement and the feeling that light is moving. Light should have smooth transitions. Now again, look at how the hair blends beautifully with the background, while the background really outlines the face in a pretty sharp way in many places. And this really draws the eye to the features. And if you did the opposite, blend the face with the background and have a really hard outline on the hair, this portrait would look very weird, and it would confuse the viewer. With a study like this, I don't push it all the way to the end. Leaving it unfinished isn't laziness, it's a choice. Sometimes the fragility of an incomplete surface tells you way more than a perfectly polished, rigid copy. There's something alive in the uncertainty. This painting flew back to Paris with me, packed carefully in my luggage. It's always a strange feeling, carrying a piece of a completely different continent in a box, and then suddenly unpacking it here under the grey light of my studio. If you want to study this portrait yourself, I've put the original reference photo and the exact palette breakdown from that day over on Patreon. And if you want to watch the whole process without any cuts, the full unedited 2-hour session is up there as well. Link right below. This is a perfect opportunity if you're a serious painter and you want to see everything start to finish. Link right below. Go grab your brushes and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey guys, so I'm going to leave it as it is now. I'm quite happy with what I've done. Again, this is not an attempt to make a masterpiece. It's just to relieve some pressure and keep practicing. I had not painted for weeks because my phone, I drowned it in the ocean water, so the salt completely destroyed it. So I had not been painting for weeks, and this is the second painting I made since 4 weeks. And so I'm pretty happy with what I've done. I'm gonna call it quits. It could be a lot of things. It could be more realistic. But that's not the goal right now. I love the beauty that comes with something unfinished. I hope you liked it. If you are subscribed to my Patreon, you will have access to the reference picture, so you can paint this with me. And I also will post and share the colors that I used today on my palette. I will share a photo of every color I used today, so you guys can really try to get yourself in my conditions and work with me. So yeah, drop your questions below, and thank you all so much for your support.